Microsoft isn't in the mobile gaming business, and this gives them, with Candy Crush, a single title that gives them an opportunity to actually participate in the mobile market. And one of the things that you would expect is that since King is actually headquartered in the UK, the UK would be welcoming and supportive and enthusiastic of a business that is based in its own country. But the opportunity that we have with Microsoft is to give them more access to mobile talent, mobile technology, and that's something that they saw as incredibly valuable. And the thing I think that was very misunderstood by the CMA is that they were focused on the console gaming market, which Sony has roughly 80% market share in, rather than where the global market has gone, and that's to mobile gaming.
Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick. The point is, Carrie, that in the UK there's a judicial review process, but all the judge can do is look at the CMA action and see if they acted in a way that was irrational or was procedurally incorrect. They can't actually look at the market merits.
And this is what makes it so important. I think one academic really talking about how post-Brexit the CMA is really decisively making itself a clear competition force. I mean, Sarah Cardle over there talking about preventing entrenched market power that then stops and prevents competition overall. There is this tension, though, isn't there, that the UK is in some way stifling innovation. But notable from not one, but like there are now, 3 female leaders of these competition commissions in the EU, in the US, and the UK, and they're all going to be looking at this really toughly.
So in the context of the UK as well, the CMA was really focused on cloud gaming. Yeah. And I asked Bobby about that, and he said it's an inconsequential part of the business, which is fascinating because Microsoft's very big on cloud gaming, transitioning Xbox from console to cloud. Well, Bobby thinks it's inconsequential. That was a bit of a surprise, actually, coming out of that interview.
And that seems to be the focus of the CMA, thinking that is a real driver of innovation and might be stifled. And it was a brilliant interview. Thank you for bringing it to us. Meanwhile, coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about the tension that's going on within Silicon Valley and really break down some of the biggest stories over there and beyond. We want to be talking about, in particular, Dropbox. Some of the concerns around layoffs, 16% of the workforce is likely to be cut. This is in part due to natural maturation of the existing businesses, so says Drew Houston, but also AI. He needs to hire and beef up in that particular part of the business. We're down 2%.
time for talking tech. Germany in talks to limit the export of chemicals to China that are used to manufacture semiconductors. The proposal, part of a package of measures that Chancellor Olaf Scholz's government is discussing that would cut off China's access to goods and services needed for the production of advanced semiconductors. Apple and Oppo are battling it out to be the top smartphone maker in China. In the first quarter, Shenzhen-based Oppo saw the biggest share of shipments, with Apple's iPhone following close behind. That's according to IDC's latest figures. Competition is intensifying as the country's market contracts and remains weak. And Elon Musk's bid to dominate global car making is taking a new turn and dividing opinions. Tesla's cut prices a half dozen times already this year, with Musk betting his competitors will have little choice but to respond to the price cuts. But the question is this disruption or is it desperation? For more, let's bring in Bloomberg's automotive czar, Craig Trudell, who authored that Bloomberg Big Take. You and I have been looking at this chart for a while, a downward trend on prices, but you have to look at another chart, Craig, which is the downward trend on margins as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Elon Musk, to his credit, said that this was going to happen, right? I go back to the end of last year. There was a Twitter Spaces he did where he sort of talked about his view that the economy was going to get tougher, that we were headed for challenges, that interest rates were making it really difficult for people to make big ticket purchases. And he said, look, I'm willing to give up margin for volume, and I'm willing to, basically go to not making any money or making very little money if it means growing. And I think what's been surprising for people is just how much they've had to cut and how quickly. And also, I think the demand response. I don't think the pop has really been there, and there's concerns about mounting inventory for Tesla, and just sort of how productive these cuts have been.
What's kind of amazing is the ripple effects this have on so many more. Just thinking of Mobileye, which is a stock that, Ed, you brought up at the beginning of the show, down more than 20% because of the impact on the Chinese EV market these price cuts are having. Craig, how much is this going to be a global story of trying to reach for basically sales over margin? And do we think that really they can preserve a luxury brand when they do this?
I think it's interesting, and it's been kind of patchy. I think where we've seen the most intense competition on price is absolutely that you touched on. Here in Europe, we're seeing more so the case that there's a long has been doesn't play. You've not necessarily seen responses from other companies of them feeling the pressure to need to match Tesla. In other respects, you do see some